What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, aka the Sub Scientist, aka the Glaciologist. Man, it's been a long time, and I know it's been a while. Uploads have kind of slowed to a crawl because I'm back in the swing of things work-wise. But in the midst of watching content from OGs like MK Rio, Tom Brady, and M2 Dave, as well as Burrito Voorhees and a bunch of others, I've been sort of inspired to make generalized Mortal Kombat content again. And this particular video, I want to explore what I hope for Mortal Kombat 13, what gameplay aspects I want from MK13, drawing from the Mortal Kombats of NetherRealms past. So obviously this picture right here sort of shows it. I wish they would have started with the MK1 roster. They kind of did, but you know, I'm talking about the MK1 pictures, but they didn't, but that's okay. But as you can see, we have many years of Mortal Kombat to draw from, and Mortal Kombat 13 really has the capacity to be amazing if, instead of NetherRealm trying to reinvent the wheel once again, if they just build from things and systems that they've had in previous games. I love Mortal Kombat 1, but the problem with Mortal Kombat 1 is that once again, instead of building from the foundations of an MK11 or an MK9 or an MKX, it decided to reinvent itself anew and include a new system, the cameo system, that was innovative and experimental, but also highly polarizing. And so, you know, I'd rather MK2 or MK13 not deal with that same situation. It can literally just draw from Mortal Kombat's past, starting with MK9. Let me tell you something. This is the game that every Mortal Kombat NRS has made should have been based on. This is the game right here that kicked off the MK tournament community right here. Even though there were tournament players during the 3D era and before, this game is what brought us all into focus. This is the game that really showed us that Mortal Kombat could be a competitive phenomenon. Now, do not mistake me. I'm not here to glaze this game. This game had 1,000 problems. For one, matchups were fucked up. Two, the internet was even more fucked up. I'm talking about the online. The online was so bad that the game actually became an entirely, completely different game online. Like, the matchup spread was completely different online than it was offline. It wasn't even the same experience. There's not a whole lot of content, though there's arguably more than MK1, you know. And then there were lots of bugs, like lots of bugs. And because of the nature of the bugs, patching was very difficult, unnecessarily difficult. And most of all, what's the biggest issue? It's just unbalanced as fuck. The game is terribly balanced. Like, if you watch an MK9 tournament during its heyday, all you're going to see is Cabal's, Kung Lao's. Maybe you'll see the occasional Sonya, the occasional Johnny, maybe 16-bits Katana, but you're going to see Cabal, Kung Lao, mostly. And that's just how it was. However, for all of the faults that I just named, this game right here had amazing fighting game fundamentals. And I can always tell when someone did not start off playing this game So, what do I want to the upcoming Mortal Kombat in the future to take from MK9? Damn near everything. No, I'm joking. But seriously, there's a lot that it can take. For one, look at the movement. Look at how quickly Sub-Zero walks back and forth. You see that? You can get into your opponent, or you can move towards your opponent simply by walking. Also, I miss flips while jumping. Notice characters jump really high. Jumps are not really that floaty, but they're not like dummy fast either. Dash blocking. MK9's dash blocking was goated. Even backwards, it was better than anything we really have had. You know what I'm saying? Movement is such an important aspect of fighting games because it's the movement that allows you to position yourself either to be inside or outside of a footsie, your opponent's footsie range, or to position opponents in or outside your own footsie range. And when characters don't move well, that one decision of making the characters move terribly has a domino effect that fucks up the whole rest of the game. MKX is a primary example of this. Okay. So I want MK9 movement, MK9 walk speeds, MK9 jump arcs, MK9 dash blocking. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. What else do I want from MK9? MK9 jump-ins. So, one thing about MK9 that all the other MKs messed up on were the jump-ins. For one, in MK9, you can't do a jump-in from this high, from top of the key, and hit your opponent. It can't happen. You have to time your jump-in on the way down of the inverse parabola. So what happens is when a character jumps, there's an inverted U that is formed. In mathematics, we call this a parabola. Okay? And a parabola is created from a quadratic equation, and an upside down parabola is created from a quadratic equation in which a is negative, but that's neither here nor there. So the point of the matter is they go up and they come back down in sort of a hill. In MK9, in order for you to hit your opponent with a jump in, you can only hit them when you're on the descend. Or when you're on the descent, I should say. Every other MK game afterwards has fucked this up because there are some characters that can hit you when they're at the top of their leap. And so it becomes very difficult to anti-air them. And then you have to come up with all kinds of band-aids, as MK Rio put it, in order to get around it. That's a problem. MK9 fixed this without even knowing that it could be broken in the future. They addressed it perfectly. Or this game addressed that perfectly. Also, one other thing that it did, I miss universal jump-in attacks. What do I mean by this? Here's jump 1. Here's jump 2. You see how they're not different? They're the exact same attack. I miss that. Because one thing that I used to do in MK9, which, is much difficult to do in all the other MK games, is if I have an attack and the string begins, let's say my attack begins with 2-2, like Sub-Zero's, right? If I jump in with Sub-Zero, I don't like doing 2-2. Jump into 2-2. Because it's very easy to overpress. Especially if you're new. Now here it's not too bad. I don't like that though. To me it doesn't feel good to jump in with 2 and then do 2-2 into Ice Ball. What feels better to me is to do 1-2-2 Ice Ball. Because here it's way easier to hit confirm. Because I did 1 and I pressed a different attack button. You see? So I'm more likely to use this jump attack because, you know, I'm able to actually hit this jump in attack. Now, MK9 purists are noticing that this is way faster than normal. I have GGA Jeremiah's mods installed on this, particularly for Sub-Zero, so you see how fast that is? GGA Jeremiah did his thing, you know what I'm saying? But the default Sub-Zero, this move is useless as fuck. But anyway, so I missed that. One other thing I want MK13 to have are the MK9's properties on jump and kicks. So jump kicks give you combos and have given characters combos pretty much forever. But the difference is in MK9, everyone couldn't combo off their jump and kick. Let me see if Sub can. Not really. Because it's, okay, slide is back forward 4. Okay, you can if you do a deep ass jump kick. That's the only way I can get a combo. But I can't do like a string after this. You see? Jumping kicks just are there to stop people from anti-airing you. Now, certain characters like Scorpion or Sector or Katana or anyone that had an aerial attack, they could jump and kick and then do their aerial attack afterwards. They could do that, but they had to commit to it. They had no way of knowing whether this move was going to come out on hit or on block. Well, they had no way of knowing whether you were going to block this or whatever. So they had to commit. And you did not get a whole lot of reward off of a jumping kick. Now, that changed when you were in the corner. I'll talk about the corner in a minute, because that's another thing I want MK13 or MK2 to take from MK9. But anyway, can I even... Yeah, it's hard to even get a jump in attack into a combo in this game at all. Okay, yeah, it's possible. But you have to practice it. And you have to risk getting anti-aired. But the risk reward on jump-in kicks is way more stilted in the defender's favor in this game. And that's something that, you know, MKX, MK11, and MK1 got rid of. That needs to return. It needs to return. Okay? So jump-in kicks need to be nerfed to MK9 levels. But one thing that MK9 really had that was super, super amazing were anti-airs. One thing about this game is that anti-airing people is absolutely amazing. Let me see if I can, hold on a second. I'm going to try to get the opponent to attack me. I'm just going to have him try to jump at me just so I can demonstrate. Okay, I was out of the range. But notice, I'm able to just keep my spacing just by walking. You can make opponents whiff attacks just by moving in this game. Hold on. See that? And Sub-Zero didn't even have the best jab for anti-airing. His jab was stand 2. That was his anti-air. Or this Ice Clone that started up in a single frame. But if you read it, you could do that. You see that? So if you read that the opponent was going to jump at you and you were ready for it, jabbing people out of the goddamn air was so consistent in this game. Partially because of the reason I told you for the jump in attack. The opponent had to wait until they were here. You see where Sub-Zero is? Before they could initiate their jump in attack. But in other games, they could be here and start their jump in attack and then hit your ass. You see how Sub-Zero's at the apex of his jump? In MKX, in MK11, in MK1, there are many characters that can do an attack here from well beyond where you can anti-air And they can hit you, but you can't hit them, even if you time your anti-air right. And that's why they have up block and shit like that. No. This game, you had to be here to start your jump in punch. And they could pop you. And that's why anti-airs are so good in this game. And as Rio noted, it isn't just jabs. Certain uppercuts, not Sub-Zero, so this is whack as fuck. Certain uppercuts were really good. There were certain special moves that were specifically designed to anti-air. Like the Ice Clone. You know? Other stuff like that. So, yeah. Like the mechanics of this game in terms of anti-air, movement, and defense really lent themselves to a defensive player being able to do shit. It wasn't just all offense all the time. Speaking of all offense all the time, one of the most underrated aspects of MK9 that I hope makes it into the new upcoming Mortal Kombat, I'm talking about the future, probably 2028 MK2, is look at the size of the stage. Have you noticed that in virtually all the MK games, Sub-Zero can do one combo like that and put the opponent in the corner damn near? If Sub-Zero did a combo, the opponent would be in the goddamn corner from this one combo. In any other game, Sub-Zero would do his BMB and put the opponent directly in the corner. That's because the stages are too short. They're way too short. They're way shorter. Or either the stages are shorter or the combos have much more corner carry. In either case, we need less corner ability. We need the stages to be larger so that it's proportional to how characters acted in MK9. Because there's only like one character that I can think of that can really like put you in the corner from one combo, and that's Raiden. And that's because of his Superman. But everyone else, they're going to do a combo. You and them are still going to be mid-screen. And because you and them are still mid-screen, zoners can still zone, defenders can still defend. You know what I'm saying? The offensive opponent has to be good enough to place you in the corner and kill you. And it doesn't just happen off of a single hit. So that's really good. Also, one of the most underrated aspects of MK9 is that right there. Did you see what Tyrex just did? Look at that tech roll. Look at that. What happened to that? We've been missing this since 2015. Tech rolling is a skill. It's a skill that I inherited from Super Smash Brothers. Tech rolling is the art of when you get knocked down, you quickly roll your ass back up by pressing a button or pressing a direction right as you land on the ground. This skill is so important for defenders because if someone knocks you down and they're trying to advance on you, in every other game, this is a hard knockdown and then they can advance. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a hard knockdown. So if an opponent hits you with a hard knockdown, they have the chance to get up on you because you can't get up when you get knocked down. But with something like this, notice the distance is maintained. You see that? This also helps defenders. And so many defensive mechanics for Mortal Kombat 9 really help this game have a more balanced meta that did not heavily stilt offense as the prevailing winning tactic. And Mortal Kombat 2 needs to incorporate those aspects. You know what I'm saying? Also, pokes. It really wasn't possible for you to do this to people in MK9. Look how much pushback there is. If you hit someone with a poke, look at how far. Like, you could do this. Sorry. So you might be able to get away with some shit like this. Maybe. With certain characters. But the poke meta that was present in MKX and MK11 is not really a factor here. For various reasons. And I do think MK1 did a much better job of balancing that, because what MK9 did, or MK1 did, was if somebody poked a motherfucker, particularly on block, chances are they're going to be negative, very negative. And they're going to have a lot of recovery frames so that you couldn't mash pokes on people. But you could just take the MK9 approach and make it to where pokes have a lot of recovery and they're very difficult to mash. You know what I'm saying? So that aspect of MK9 needs to be present in a new Mortal Kombat game. Okay. Now, selfishly, this mode right here is fucking goated. Test your luck. Because notice you can change the number of reels. And what I used to love to do was put shit on 2 reels. And I would pick my character and I would play on expert, right? So I would just fight my match. And when you're learning a character, trying to get your combos down, what a perfect way than to play in a no stakes, unending mode like this. So notice I didn't do anything. I just picked my character. The game chose an opponent for me at random. And we have 1 modifier, right? Because some of us don't want to play with all that extra bullshit, you know, that the modifiers can provide. And if you don't want to use them, that's fine. You'll see Jeremiah's buffs of Sub-Zero in action here. Oh shit, I tried to slide with back 4-3 and it's not. Okay. Ooh, you bitch. Dumb nigga. Yeah, look at your ass. You see that clone? I miss Sub-Zero clone. Ice clone in this game was so good. I don't know what I gotta do to get MK9 Ice Clone back. Or hell, MK9 Sub-Zero back. Just with... oh shit. Just give him some decent frame data. And some better damage, bro. And I'll take that character. Ooh. Do it. Ooh, you bitch. Ouch. Alright, you're dead. Goodbye. Oh yeah, one thing for MK9. 60 FPS fatal blows or x-rays, whatever they have. Now I want you to notice, I'm gonna play again. Now the one thing I do want is that for this mode to have rematch. That way I can get this exact same opponent and get the exact same modifier. But if I hit play again, guess what happens? I'm gonna be in a new stage against a new opponent. This is fresh as fuck. Notice, I'm not gonna fight Reptile again. See that? So they picked me Cyrax, and he can't dash. I don't know why this mode ever disappeared. This mode was so good for just grinding out your character, learning your character, learning what strings are good, what strings are not good, combos, all that shit. I don't know why it ever went away. I really don't. But let me go back to MK9. One more thing overall. Oh, hold on. I love MK9's atmosphere too. Like the music and the vibe, the graphics, everything. So if they ported that over, I would be happy. But probably the most important aspect of MK9 that I really hope gets ported over to the new game is a lack of a fucking gameplay gimmick. I want the game to return back to archetypes. And I probably should have started with this. But I purposely picked Johnny Cage and Noob Saibot for a reason. See, Johnny Cage was at his rushdown finest in this game. The reason why MK1 Johnny is so good is because he's a rip of this Johnny Cage. 9 frame mid, it's the same input. 10 frame back 3, same input. They gave him this string again. He also has this string again, pretty much. It looks different, but it's that string. You know what I'm saying? But Johnny Cage is a rushdown monster. He struggles from back here. Notice his fireball is trash. At least he has fireballs, right? But they're trash. He's not going to be throwing these out to zone motherfuckers. And he does have a projectile that does a nice little chunk of damage, but he's trash from out here. All he can do is this. And I want you to notice that you see how the shadow kick doesn't automatically grant him Oki, so he has to go back in and try to fight. You know what I'm saying? Compare that to the new games where as soon as the boy does a shadow kick, he can just advance on people. Like he can just be in their face for free. But anyway, the point is, Johnny Cage has to get here and he has to win. And there's no variations to help you. There's no custom variations or custom moves to steal sauce away from the base character. And there are no cameos to assist you and make you stupid or make you ignore critical weaknesses. Johnny Cage is what he is. And if you understand fighting games and you understand that you can just keep Johnny Cage back here, you can beat Johnny Cage. Right? And so it gives the game a natural ebb and flow. Compare that to Noob Saibot. I can't play the other character, but I know what I can do. Oh shit. It's going to be kind of irritating. Hold on a second. Let me get my shit right. All right, I'm back. So now I can control Cage and I can control Noob. So in contrast to Johnny Cage, Noob Saibot is a pure zoner. And yes, he had 50-50 projectiles. So Noob Saibot's whole shit was do this shit to keep him off of you, keep the opponents off of you, pepper them with these motherfuckers here. How did the opponent beat them? Well, they try to block him correctly, but then they jump. But then what does Noob do when they jump? This. Keep him back there. Noob's normals were slow. They had a lot of range. Or relative range. But they were slow on startup. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't even know shit about that right there. But yeah, so notice Noob's whole thing was completely different than Johnny Cage, right? His whole way to win is diametrically opposed to what Johnny Cage wants to do. And if you're a new player, you have to put yourself in a different frame of mind. And Noob Saibot is going to appeal likely to a different kind of player than Johnny Cage. I happen to play both because I love them both. But a Johnny Cage player is an entirely different type of player than someone that plays Noob. You know, someone that's playing Noob Saibot is probably trying to keep people at bay. Probably not trying to do all that much. You know what I'm saying? Those portal setups were bullshit, by the way. But, you know, point of the matter is, because the characters are so different, and there's nothing, they have access to their full toolkit. There's no splitting of their move sets between variations. There's no, like I said, custom moves to remove from them and then add back on later as extra features and shit. Like, you know, none of that. And there's no cameos to augment their weaknesses. The characters just kind of are what they are. And it's crazy to think that something like that could be refreshing for Mortal Kombat, but it really would be. It would be refreshing because, yes, this would mean that certain matchups would be trash. Many characters would have losing matchups, but guess what? We already have bad matchups in the games anyway. Even the ones where you're supposed to be able to pick one character and counterpick everybody, that doesn't work. It does not work. The variation system as a means of stopping counterpicking has failed. It failed in MKX. It failed in MK11. And the cameos do a much better job of allowing you to pick one character and just counterpick the whole cast. They do a much better job of that. But the cameos create their own problems. And they still don't all the way prevent counterpicking. They really don't. They just don't. Like, if you're using Baraka against Sub-Zero, you can put whatever variation on Baraka you want. If the Sub-Zero's playing all the way correctly, you're just going to be like, fuck it, I'm picking T-1000. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you'll do. And you'd be much better off for it. So, MK9 really demonstrates what happens when you have a game that is no frills, man. Because this game had no frills. This game did not favor offense. It did not favor defense. You were able to win in whatever way your character allowed you to win. You had the large stages that allowed you to do this all the time. But you could also get across them bitches fast as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And that helps out so much. As I'm thinking about this, I'm going to make this a video series. Because if I put all the MKs in one video, that shit would be an hour and a half long. And I don't want to do that. Plus, I think I've spoken for long enough. But, you know, as far as MK2 is concerned, those are the aspects that it needs to borrow from MK9. And honestly, there's more that it can borrow. Like, I would love to hear the classic music and the classic stages again and see the classic stages in all their glory. I would love to see a roster that had no new characters. That's one of the things I really like about MK1 is that the roster is just classic characters, with the exception of his ass. He's not classic, but still. And then, really, the only real new character was Scarlet and Freddy. And then Cyber Sub. But these are all permutations. Well, these two are permutations of other characters. This is just Sub-Zero, but robot form. This is a female ninja, and this is our first DLC. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, there's so much shit that can be borrowed from MK9 for MK2. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I want MK2 to be the best MK that it can be, and really the best MK it needs to be, because it needs to be really good. It really does. So this will be the first part of a video series. Next, I'm going to talk about what MK2 needs to borrow from MKX. I do expect that that video will be shorter because I don't want much of anything from MKX, to be honest with you. But I hope y'all follow along. Let me know what you feel in the comments. I'll catch y'all later. Stay froze.